Douglas County School District provides a world-class education.
And you'll learn about metallic bonds today. That's where a metal bonds to itself.
The use of technology supports the learning environment.
Since we're using a lot of technology-based things, there's self-pacing going on.
I was using my cell phone to take a quiz for this class, so I just pull up Moodle and all the questions, and I can just hit the answer and turn it in.
I just go then and grade all their work electronically. That way they don't have to worry about, I don't have to worry about my dog ate my homework, I lost my homework. It's all electronic. It's there, it's not there. If the kids make a mistake, they can forget to upload it, they can email it to me. So we're trying to help those kids meet their needs, get their assignments in. And a lot of these kids really care about their grades, so it's really to help them monitor themselves. Yes, I got it turned in. Yes, I took the quiz online. Oh, I took the quiz 2 times and I don't quite understand. I can come back to the teacher, ask questions, I can keep taking the quiz. So it's really to help kids monitor themselves and make sure they're doing everything they need to do.
Well, I use my phone and I take a lot of quizzes for the class that I'm in. Especially this class, we have a lot of online quizzes that we can take, and it's just easier than going home and taking them on the computer.
I can look up everything on my phone.
It gives us like an instant score so that we know how good we did, and then we can go and review it and see which ones we got wrong so that we know which ones we need to work a little harder on.
Every kid's at a different spot, which is good for me because I can help kids as they need. They can ask questions. I'm on this level, I'm at this area, and really what that allows kids to do is take a hold of their own education, pace themselves, ask questions as they need. Some work ahead, some need my more personal attention, and so I'm there, can help them more. And so that use of technology does allow, in my opinion, way more individualization, way more pacing, way more differentiation than kids that are stuck in their regular classroom where they all have to do the same thing at the same time.
I've always been ahead in classes. I've always learned at my own pace. So I really like how Mr. Zimmerman's done it because I can go on, learn the information, and get things done whenever I have time to, versus having like a strict schedule of things that we have to get done. We can just look at his calendar and we'll know exactly what we need to have done by what time, so we can really learn at our own pace.
Chemistry, it's good because there's lots of notes and you can go at your own pace.
We submit everything online. We submit videos, kind of a scientific blog about our process and all of that, and other things that he might need. My group and I, we always do a Google Docs so we can both work on it at the same time so we can add to each other's things, and it kind of is just kind of a blog, like a history of what we've been doing in the process.
I use cell phone a lot, like sometimes, especially this lesson, but in other classes I can use it to like search something that I don't know, or also like if the teacher asks us to do something on Moodle, it's easier than to try and find a computer somewhere to do it on.
I use it as my notebook, and I use it to turn stuff in because a lot of the stuff that we turn in is electronic.
Kids that have A's and B's kind of prove that they can learn on their own, that they don't need a whole lot of guidance, and what they'll do is bring some questions into me as needed. What I do then is any kid with a C, they're with me every day, so they go off the blend, they go off the hybrid because they need more personalized attention. So I think that has been the key for success to help those kids, because now I have 8 kids working with me, so an 8-to-1 ratio versus a 30-to-1 ratio, and those kids at the low level get a lot of help. The kids at the high level can move on at their own. So I think that's one of the important things that hybrid allows, again, that more differentiated, self-paced help that you can give those kids.
In Kristen Bernstein's classroom of 3rd graders, we see the writing process in action.
We are currently doing Every Child a Writer for our writing rotations today that you're going to see, and the rotation that's with me is called Differentiated Writing, where we're learning a writing target or a strategy that they're going to then have to try on their own, the directed writing station. At my station, you're going to see us using the smartboard, and we're talking about what grabs a reader's attention in writing. So we're talking about our introductions and how we can make them better with our word choice, what strategies we can do to make those better. At directed writing, which is their next station, they're practicing writing those introductions on their own, on their iPad using the Pages app. And then you'll see kids at the language station actually practicing language. They're practicing their spelling, their grammar, their punctuation using an app called Bluster, and they're also using a website called Spelling City, which is also now an app. And our last station is expressive writing, where kids are choosing their own topic to write at a free choice, and then they are using whatever app they want to publish that writing. So those are the stations you're going to see today in our classroom.
Every time we write a paragraph and when we turn it in, our teacher checks them, and then she puts words on the back of our page or at the bottom of our paragraph, and we put those words into our
spelling notebook.
Write the story on the timeline, and then you have to write it on here, then send it to your teacher.
Industry partners repeatedly identify excellence in writing skills as a top priority for their hiring criteria. The use of technology supports the learning environment to provide a world-class education.
Technology is very helpful in a second grade classroom. For one, it absolutely motivates students to their learning. You can just see the sparks come on. I think it's just kind of the world that they live in. And so if we can bridge that world they live in into the classroom, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
So if our learning point is to practice retelling a story, you're going to use those two apps as your tool to help you retell the story, correct? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to focus on that today. I'm going to give you a book with you and your partner. You're going to read that. And then you're going to use your apps of Puppet Pals and Draw Free to create a retell. I want you to think right now in your brain, why is it important for a good reader to retell their reading?
Well, what we're doing today, actually, using Puppet Pals and Draw Free to, first they're reading a story, and then they are creating the characters or the background that will go into their retell, and we have specific guidelines for retell that they're using. We've really prompted that a lot before they even get into this actual iPad app that they're using to do the retell today.
We go to camera and then we take a picture, like we would take a picture of the character, Mrs. Chicken. So we took the picture, and now we go to Puppet Pals, and then add, and then camera roll, and then we have it right there. We drag the picture. I'm very good at it. It's kind of hard to cut out things. So that's how we cut it out, and then it comes out like this, and you hit accept, and it becomes a part. And you click on that, and then yeah, so that's how you take a picture and cut it out, and then it can be one of your characters in your story.
An example of using critical thinking, for instance, in writing, we were talking about topic sentences, and we were actually just sentences in general, and students were really struggling with great sentence structure and exciting sentence structure. So we, through books, we were finding great examples of topic sentences and sentence structures, and they used an app called EduCreations, and they took a picture of that, and then they went through it and they actually highlighted why this was an exciting sentence, and as they're kind of highlighting, their voice is also recording, so it's really kind of that, why is this a great example and how can I share that with others? And so we frequently do that and then have the experience to share along with our peers.
So we took some pictures of the book, and then we cut the characters out, and then we took some pictures of the backgrounds, and then we put it in. What big eyes you had! The better to see you. Try to retell what we knew. Red Riding Hood's mother called her down because she had to take some. Because if you use technology, it actually helped you with learning.
I think it's absolutely made me a better teacher, as it's prompted me to learn more and to just continue to be a learner as I go through my instruction. I'm not going backwards, that's for sure.
Socrates, an ancient Greek philosopher, inspired a commonly used pedagogy to deepen understanding through Socratic seminars.
Our big understanding is that conversations help us deepen our thinking and our understanding.
The other person in my group, she actually has used Socratic seminars over at Sierra and said it was a great way to get them thinking, critical thinking and talking and learning more, and so we just kind of placed it in our unit.
If you don't like to talk in class, you like to be quiet. Me too, I'm with you. But we're going to ask you to take a little bit of a risk today, maybe step out of your comfort zone and have some conversations in your Socratic circle. So inner circle, what you're going to be doing is you ponder those questions that you had. You're going to remember that there's no right or wrong answers to these, that it's okay to disagree, but what we want you to do is explain your thinking behind that. Why do you disagree? You outer circle people, you get to do some multitasking, and your job is actually kind of harder than the inner circle. And what it is you're going to be observing what's happening, and when we get set up, you're going to be pretty much directly behind somebody. So if I'm in the outer circle and he's right in front of me, I'm not just going to focus on the person in front of me, but he's kind of my guy, you know, to see how he's doing. You're going to be listening, thinking, responding, and we're going to use Cover It Live, and reading the back channel, what the rest of the people in the outer circle are saying. So you guys are going to be multitasking quite a bit.
I did tell them there would be 2 grades on it, and basically how they did on the outer circle, what kind of comments they were making. Were they just agreeing? Were they really trying to tell us why they didn't agree or disagree? And then on the inside, I told them I'd be grading them how prepared they were, you know, how much they talked, that type of stuff. So they're getting 2 grades for both academic, but 2 grades for it. It gave kids less chance to hide, and I heard more comments out of people that haven't spoken in my class for most of the year than I've ever heard. So they said things that I'm like, wow, I didn't know they had it in them, that they had those kind of thoughts, and I was just so impressed.
We see Socrates influencing education today as we observe the level of critical thinking that occurs when learners are asking a series of questions.
The new paradigm of data being the economy that we are in, every single student needs to have a literacy in science, technology, engineering, and math, and process information like a scientist and a mathematician does, because tomorrow the information is going to be different. So our bigger view of STEM is that it's much more than just for the kids who think they're going to be in a STEM career. It's for all students, because that is what you will be doing in your careers. You will be solving problems with using information.
What we're trying to do is expose them to a variety of types of technology pieces that they wouldn't get in a regular tech class. And it's tied in very closely with the science class. The approach to teaching it different is it's all part of what we're being taught everywhere, the backwards design. I need to know where I'm going. And so I have up here where you're going and how you get there. So I start with, this is the end product, here's how you get there. These are the skills that you're going to need to get there along the way. So I don't throw out all the skills at once. It's not we learn about it and then do a lesson. It's we learn and then try these things as we go along. So it's piece by piece instead of I need you to learn all this stuff. Robotics is very engaging. My kids will walk in, they cannot wait to get in the door, and after 90 minutes I have to set a timer because no one knows when we're done. And the timer goes off and they look at me and say, we can't be done yet. So it's very, very engaging. And it's pretty much at their own pace though. You know, some kids are behind, some kids are ahead, and that's just how it is.
So really, we have multiple tests with this guy. So what usually happens is that we go back and forth through many different processes and ideas to see what actually works. Since there's multiple ideas. What usually happens is, so we end up sending the robot out. If that doesn't work the first time, we figure out what we need to change, we redo that, and then whatever we find out works, we keep the same. Whatever we find out doesn't, we have to change, rethink, redo. It's a long process.
The grade is based on your ability to explain what you did, why you did it, what each piece was supposed to do, and show the understanding behind that.
We're seeing how long it takes to go to that brick and stop.
Really what they're learning is critical thinking and problem solving. There's a certain step of problem solving that they go through and they record that. So what I'm really focusing on is I've given you some skills, but I haven't taught you how to do it. So now you need to problem solve, troubleshoot, work with your group. So that's where the main focus is in the robotics.
If you want to look at some research, they're actually finding that memory centers in students' brains, especially on the younger end, in our elementary, is really different. It's not firing in the same way that adult traditional memory centers fire in the brain. They are really looking at how to use information. That's how our youngest students are processing information, because it's always been available to them. So it's a little different paradigm shift.
Our learners deserve differentiated pathways to best meet their learning style.
It's a different way of teaching. You have to be prepared ahead of time to know where you want them to go and then set up a variety of activities for them to work through. It's not everybody does the same thing at the same time. So what I do is I will give them some learning. There's a little teach at the beginning of most classes, maybe 10 minutes, and then cut them loose and let them go and figure out how to apply that. So it's very self-paced. You have to be willing to let go and let the kids learn on their own and at their own pace, but you also, on the other hand, have to keep them accountable and make sure that they're moving forward and not just spinning their wheels. So it's a balance, and everybody in the class is at a different place.
What we're going to assume is that when we add more batteries, it'll make a stronger electromagnet because there's more electrical current flowing through the copper wire.
We believe it's really important that kids are doing things with information versus trying to memorize it. I think that would probably summarize it the best. I think the time of our lives has passed in which we can remember enough to be valuable in a particular topic, but what we have to do is remember the tools, know how to find the information, know how to use the tools to properly solve problems that come up, because the exponential growth of information just is changing the paradigm for how we have to learn and teach and prosper in our society.
Our guaranteed and viable curriculum raises expectations for today's learners. We include the 21st century skills of communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity.